Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started if you'll have a seat. There's a whole row in the very front, wide open. All right. Okay, well, good evening. Welcome to the closing program for the 2020 to 2021 Kalamazoo Lighthouse Class of Conversations community. Tonight is a celebration of student achievement and growth. It is a celebration of leadership. It is a celebration of parent/teacher blood, sweat, and tears, and joy in pursuing the calling of training up our children in the Lord, when they rise up and when they lie down, when they sit in the house and when they walk by the way. Mostly, however, tonight is a ceremony of thanks and praise to our Lord God, who is before all things and in whom all things hold together. I'd like to ask Kevin Farmer to open us this evening in prayer.
Let's pray. Father, you are a glorious God. You give so many good gifts. We thank you for our children, and we thank you for a community that loves to learn. Pray that you would cause us to think deeply tonight about the impact our thoughts and the way we think about things, the way we've learned have on how we view you. May we grow in our understanding of who you are. May we think deeply about the importance of education, the importance of knowing you better through the world and through thought and through art and through literature. Lord, may we enjoy being together. And Lord, I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Tonight, you will hear from our littlest learners all the way up through our high school programs. We will begin with our Foundations presentations. Foundation students and their parents practice the learning skills of naming, attentiveness, memorization, expression, and storytelling in community and while at home. These tools form the beginning of a lifetime of filling our classical learning toolboxes. Without further ado, I would like to call in the foundation students, and we are going to get going with their part of the program. We will begin first with Mrs. Pachuta and Mrs. Thurkelson's classes, who will be reciting for us a memory work fact about Pearl Harbor. And next we have Mrs. Trigueros's and Mrs. Volmar's classes, who will be telling us a little bit about the first 12 elements of the periodic table. Thank you, students. And next we have Mr. Fountain's and Mrs. Light's classes, who will be telling us about the tycoons. Next, we have a couple of songs of pieces of information that we've memorized together as a whole Foundations community. The first is a Bible passage, which is John chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. We will be reciting it for you in English and then in Latin, because our students use this passage also as a translation exercise this year.
Beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was made nothing that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to give testimony of the light, that all men might believe through him. In principio erat verbum, et verbum erat apud Deum, et Deus erat verbum. Hoc erat in principio apud Deum, omnia per ipsum factus sunt, et sine ipso factum est, nihil quod factum est. In ipso vita erat, et vita erat lux hominum, et lux in tenebris lucet, et tenebrae eum non comprehenderunt. Fuit homo missus ad Deo, qui nomen erat Johannes, hic venit in testimonium, ut testimonium perhiberet, de lumine ut omnes crederent per elum.
All right, and the last piece that we have to share with you from our foundation students this evening is our orchestra song. Every year, our students learn about some of the great composers from history. We learn about the orchestra, the instruments of the orchestra, and how that classical music piece works. And we will have a chance this evening to sing for you as though we are some of the instruments in the orchestra. Okay, are you guys ready? Mrs. Douglason's class, do you guys need to go to your instrument group? Do you remember where you go? Do you remember where you go? students will be dismissed to you parents, so we'll make sure they can find you before we move on. Okay, go ahead, Layla. While the students find you, I love for us to look back and remember at all we have learned over the past year. And we have a slide that reminds us all the things and foundations that we touched on over the course of this whole last year. Students, it was a lot of things. It was more than 150 memory facts and science experiments and fine arts projects. We looked at music. The students each gave 24 presentations in front of their classes. We played a lot of review games. So much was accomplished and much fun was had in Foundations. All right, I would like to move us on to our Memory Master presentations. Every year, Foundation students have the opportunity to attempt an optional year-long challenge called Memory Master. The students who choose to participate commit a year's worth of memory work facts to memory, and they go through a testing process called proofing, which involves 4 verbal recitations of the entire body of memory work from the year in one sitting each. This is a rigorous and challenging process for both students and parents alike. This year, I am proud to announce that we have 7 Foundation students who have successfully become Memory Masters for Cycle 3. And I would like to announce their names, and students, if you and your parents will come up when I call your name and stand right in front of this table. We'll start with Simeon Farmer. Bennett Light. Lily Pachuta. Case Ryan. Kale and May Van Hofwegen. Where are your parents? And Mercedes Volmer. I am going to award our Memory Masters with a certificate and the official Memory Master t-shirt for this year. It's important that we also recognize our students who happen to master all 3 cycles of the Foundation's memory work over the course of the last several years. We have one student who accomplished that this year with his Memory Master title for Cycle 3, and that is Bennett Light. Thank you all. You may have a seat. And now is the time of the program where we will be acknowledging and celebrating our Essentials program. So Mrs. Late and Mrs. Volmer, if you would like to come back up, and I will turn the program over to you.
It is our privilege to recognize all of our students who were a part of our Essentials program. So when I call your name, you can come up and collect your portfolio of your papers that you wrote this year. We're going to go in order of how many tours you have had through the program. So for my class, their first tour, Sophia Dragon, Micah Hayes, Hudson Light. Those are all first tours.
Can you just do my first tours?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and for my class, the first tours are Kelsey Bogda, Lillian Fletcher, Bella Trigueros, and Audrey Murphy.
And now for those who completed their second tour, Marcelina Mott, Case Ryan, and Kale Van Hofwerden.
Okay, and for my second tours, I have Lillian Pachuta and Mercedes Volmar.
And finally, for my class, those who have completed the Essentials program and are graduating to Challenge. I have Simeon Farmer, Bennett Light, and Una Sullins.
And our class third tour students are Jacob Fletcher, Connor Murphy, and Matthias Thurkeldson.
Our Essentials students, oh, this is mine. Where is his father? That's Ruben. He hasn't been with us all year, but he came tonight. I should have mentioned at the beginning of the Essentials presentations what Essentials is, because some of you may not know. Once our students make it to 9 years old, generally between the ages of 9 and 12, they participate in 3 years of Essentials, which is our afternoon class involving English grammar learning, some math, and learning to write well using the IEW Institute for Excellence in Writing program. So those students who were just up here are working through Essentials, and well done, students. I would like to now take a moment to acknowledge our tutors, our Foundations and Essentials tutors. Our tutors make our little CC world here go around. They're dedicated and diligent. They are caring and courageous. They are organized and optimistic. They have loved you well, and we have been blessed each week to work with them this year. I would like to have all of our Foundations and Essentials tutors come up. So if the 6 of you will come up. Mr. Fountain was unable to be with us this evening because he works second shift. And we appreciate his hard work coming to be with us on Mondays during the day and then going to work. He was unable to get the night off tonight, so hopefully Mrs. Fountain will come up in his place. So tutors, will you please come up? Foundations and Essentials tutors, come on up. I have a gift for them, and I want us all to thank them with thunderous applause for their hard work this year. they are the best team, and I'm grateful to have them with me this year. Also, I want to acknowledge 3 of them who are going to be moving on in other ways next year for our next CC year 2021 to 22. And starting with Mrs. Sarah Thurkelson. Sarah has tutored for me for, has it been 5 years? 4 or 5 years, something like that. And her youngest is moving on to Challenge A next year, so she will no longer be able to tutor foundation. So I would like to thank her. If we could have... And April Pachuta. April is bravely moving on to direct our Challenge 1 program next year. Before I announce the next one, I have to acknowledge our Essentials tutors. 2 of our tutors do double duty, or have done double duty for a couple of years anyway. Teresa Volmer and Tara Light are both Foundations and Essentials tutors, so they work all day with our students. And finally, many of you know, some of you may not know, that Tara Light is moving up into a new position next year. She will become our next Foundations and Essentials Director, as I am also moving up to be our campus's support representative for next year. So we must thank Tara for her years of service to our community. You can put those down for a second. Before we move on, though, Tara, you didn't know this, but there's one more level of interview that we have to complete before you're actually able to receive the gift of my job. And it has to be in the form of questions that involve our whole community. So parents and students, I'm going to now ask Mrs. Light some very formal and important questions. And if you think she answers well, then I want you to raise up a high 5 in the air, like she scored 5 out of 5, okay? So listen carefully and see how she does, because this is of the utmost importance. Okay, we are a family, so this is a family decision. Okay, Tara, how adept are you at the presentation topic, 2 truths and a lie? This comes up a lot in the Foundations program, both in family presentations and in student presentations. I want to know, on average, about how many correct answers have you guessed when a part of this presentation topic?
I think I'm a solid C.
Which would be like 70%?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, students? Good? Is that good enough? Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, number 2. Imagine this scenario. A parent tugs frantically at your sleeve. Something is wrong with the Keurig coffee machine. A line is forming. What do you do?
Send Greg Taylor to Starbucks.
Correct answer. And then he can fix the machine.
Right.
Tara, you're driving to CC early on a Monday morning, and early is the word because you'll have to be here extra early next year. You realize the worst thing imaginable has happened. You forgot to pack a lunch for your own children. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable and fast are you at placing an online order for Jimmy John's, Cottage and Pizza, and while you're at it, Starbucks?
They're saved in my phone. Default orders.
Okay, what do you think? Is she ready? Okay, she's got them saved on her phone as default orders, so we're good. Tara, do you know how to use this tool?
I have had to use this tool and been successful.
She's been successful. Do you have confidence that she will be successful here? 5. Okay.
What's it? Yeah.
And she'll give it to Greg.
I'll give this to Greg too.
Well, hold on. I'm not going to get inappropriate here, but more set of questions, Tara. Will you email us even when you've already sent 100 emails?
Absolutely.
Will you pick up our lost and found? Will you pray for us? Will you help us to know God and make him known? No, shoot. Will you love us and care for us? Students, remember when I told you how this happens to moms? I'm happy. I just look like I'm sad. Tara, and now I have a few things to tell you on behalf of our community. We will email you when we've already sent you 100 emails. We will try to pick up our lost and found, right? We will pray for you, and we will remind you that we need to learn to know God more and more and make him known. And we will love you and care for you. Thank you, tutors.
Okay, well, before Laura moves on, she has diligently served our campus for the last 7 years. And I've been a tutor, I think, for 6 of those years or something. So this is hard a little bit for her to move on. And so as a community, as a foundations, families, we have gathered a gift for you and signed this card. And we love you so much. And we're glad you're staying at our campus.
am.
She's not leaving our campus,
not.
so it's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. It has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life, and it will continue to be because I will still be here. So thank you all. Okay, moving on, it is now time for our challenge program presentations. So we will begin with Challenge A, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mrs. Farmer, and then challenge directors, we can just move through the list.
I'm not really talking first. Here she comes. I delegated. I don't have to say anything today.
Challenge A is for students 12 and older. We study 6 strands: exposition, debate, logic, reasoning, research, and grammar. This year, our amazing director was Mrs. Farmer, whom we are all so thankful for. Let's give her a round of applause. On the whiteboards, you'll begin to see a few of our accomplishments, not to glory ourselves, but to celebrate what we have learned about God and what he has done. This year, we strove to memorize an entire map of the world from memory. We also memorized the parts and functions of 9 body systems, a few of which are demonstrated today. We explored concepts in math, wrestled together in Latin, and wondered at God's hand in science, and reasoned through the tough choices made by the characters in the novels we read. Ownership is the theme of Challenge A. In Challenge A, we learn to take responsibility and ownership over our own learning. Throughout the books we read in Challenge A, we're consistently seeing the theme of ownership throughout the characters' choices. In Care on Mr. Bowditch, a young man named Nathaniel took ownership over his own learning, even after he had to leave school at a young age. His continual choice to display ownership built him into a man of strong character. In The Bronze Bow, Daniel took ownership over his younger sister. He chose to care and provide for her. He also chose to control his anger towards the Romans. I have learned this year how important and beneficial ownership can be in my daily life. I've also learned that ownership is not just a skill we learn, but a choice we choose to make.
One of the projects we learned in Challenge A was science fair. It was a 10-week project that at the end we presented to judges. In the 10 weeks, we used the 5 canons of rhetoric, which include invention, arrangement, elocution, memory, and delivery. Invention is your thoughts and just coming up with your idea. Arrangement is arranging those thoughts to be your final idea. Elocution is the style and how you would deliver it. And memory is memorizing it so you could deliver it. And presentation is the final delivery to the judges.
Another thing we did in Challenge A was fallacy detective. You hear a lot of fallacies in the news and in political arguments. One of the fallacies is when one political argumenter is accusing or just accusing another argumenter for doing something. This is called ad hominem. Another thing we did in Challenge A was we tried to memorize Proverbs 25. Here is one of my favorite verses. A word fitly spoken is like apples of golden in pictures of silver.
Something we do in our class is sharing the cookies.
Sharing the cookies is Mrs. Visser's way of having a conversation that engages all the students in the class.
Tell me more.
I believe the most important thing in sharing the cookies is the mediator who starts the conversation.
Well, I believe the most important thing is asking questions.
Give me an example.
Questions engage the people in the conversation to express their views. For instance, if a person in your group isn't sure how to state their opinions, you can ask them, "Why do you think that?" Or, "What do you think about this?" to keep the conversation going smoothly.
I see what you mean, but the mediator is way more important in questions.
Why?
Well, the mediator starts the conversation, brings up new topics, engages others, and makes everyone feel comfortable with each other.
That makes sense. I would agree with you on that one. So overall, sharing the cookies is having a conversation with everyone contributing.
Yes, it teaches you how to step outside your comfort zone and to love others even if you disagree with them.
We would like to thank Mrs. Farmer for teaching us so much and never giving up on us no matter how tired or grumpy we were.
No. Thank you for showing us how to live like Jesus and for making us smile and laugh and for lighting up the room with your joy. We love you, Mrs. Farmer.
I should have gone first. They got me. I just want to say they were such a gift this year. This class is so wonderful and sweet, and they work hard. I'm so proud of them and all the things that they've done. It was a tough year for a lot of us, and so it was really a blessing to go through it with them, for us to do it together. They got a little taste of Socratic circles. I'm not sure if you're going to hear that from any of the older groups, but that little conversation that you just watched was an example of how we learn to have conversations civilly and intelligently and kindly. So that was amazing. I told them yesterday that they were going to make me look good, and they did. Good job, you guys. It's time for B, Challenge B. Here comes Mrs. Bogda.
Well, I'm really excited that I get to stay in Challenge B because that means all that gets to come to me. And I'm so excited. If you are their parents, thank you. Good job. This will be fun. Currently, I'm still so excited to let you hear from my Challenge B class. It has been, a challenging year, but that's why they call it Challenge, right? We've grown, we've developed, and we have shared. And I've also delegated to my four of my students here, and they get to tell you what they think about Challenge B.
Bono Asparum. Good evening. My name is Bradley Pachuta, and I'm going to share my experiences with mock trial relating to the 5 canons of rhetoric. Rhetoric is defined as the noble art of persuasion. The first of the 5 canons of rhetoric is invention. Invention in mock trial consists of writing examination questions, opening statements, and closing arguments. The second canon of rhetoric is arrangement. Arrangement was sorting Annie charts that we made, comparing each other's questions, and practicing witness statements. The third canon is elocution. Elocution is defined as adding style to what one says. We used state statutes, legal terms, and some emphasis on words to plead our case to the jury. The fourth canon is memory. For a witness, this was remembering every tiny detail in your witness statement. For the bailiff, it was opening the court and swearing in witnesses. And for the attorneys, it was memorizing the opening statement and closing argument. The final canon is presentation. This is practicing protocol on how you dress, speak, and being able to think fast without getting flustered. At the end of our mock trial experience, my class and I had accomplished a lot. Working as a team and being there for each other was perhaps the biggest lesson we learned. In the mock trial, we pursued truth. John 14:6 says, Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. May we continue to pursue Jesus, his teachings, and the truth. Now, I will finish with a joke to lighten up the evening. Why don't lawyers trust atoms? Because they make up everything. And now I will introduce my friend Shota to come up to the witness stand. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shota Sullins, and I was a student in Challenge B. So I will be talking about the research strand for Challenge B, which will basically be research. So for the first semester, we were given each week an astronomer to study about. We would usually study dates of birth, death, and dates of accomplishments, so basically what they were famous for. We would also study about their location and things like that. We would also be given a project with the astronomer, and for example, this is my project of Edwin Hubble, and he is famous for the classifications of galaxies. So as you can see, it's in rough condition because it's from semester 1. That there are elliptical galaxies, spiral galaxies, lenticular galaxies, and many more. For semester 2, we were studying a book called Defeating Darwinism. Basically, we would study about Darwinism and how it's not functional. So how it won't really work if it was true, even though it's not. Towards the end of the weeks for semester 2, Challenge B, we would also study about a book called Discovering Atomos. And in the last few weeks, we would study about atoms and how they have electrons, neutrons, negative charges, positive charges, atomic masses, atomic number, and things like that. And we would also be studying the periodic table and trying to memorize it for Blue Book, which is the final exam for challenge. That is all I have for today. Thank you.
Shota, you have to come back up. You weren't dismissed from the witness stand yet.
Can I go?
Yes, you're dismissed. In Challenge B, we wrote a collection of short stories. I enjoyed it because it was interesting to read a bunch of different authors within a short period of time and then see how their writing styles differed. We would discuss the various short stories in class using Socratic Circle, which Challenge A already demonstrated. We also all had to write our own short stories. I enjoyed that because I like making up stories. And now I would like Emily to come up here and say whatever she's going to say.
Okay. Hello, my name is Emily Murphy, and today I will be talking a little bit about discipline, which is the theme of Challenge B. Okay. In the words of Jim Rohn, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. The theme of Challenge B is discipline. If we look at the definition of discipline, it means to control, regulate, and direct. Looking back at our curriculum, we can see discipline displayed in so many ways. Corrie ten Boom, for example, she wrote an autobiography that we read called The Hiding Place. In her book, she displayed such discipline in trusting the Lord and letting Him direct her path. We also studied Proverbs. And if we look at Proverbs 13:24, it says, "He who spares accountability hates his son, but he who loves him is careful to discipline him." Here we can see that love is associated with discipline, and he who doesn't discipline his child hates him. We were also handed a heavy workload with subjects like mock trial, Latin, logic, and also writing our own short stories. Within this work, discipline was of the utmost importance so that we could accomplish these goals. Discipline is a necessary tool that God has given us so that we can become more like Him. If you are a student, discipline can be applied to your studies so that you may be academically successful. If you are a doctor, discipline can keep you from getting other people sick, as well as keeping you safe. And most importantly, if you are a Christian, my apologies. If you are a Christian, discipline can help you grow spiritually and stay on the right path. If I look back at myself before the start of this year, I would compare myself to who I am now and how I have grown as a Christian and a person. I believe that through discipline, I have gained wisdom and knowledge. And although I am still learning and growing, I believe that this experience has made me a better person. I would challenge you, no matter your age, faith, or occupation, to exert yourself and apply discipline to your life because it can only help you grow as a person and achieve your goals. Thank you.
This group of Challenge 1 students has prepared their last argument of the year for team policy debate. They'd like to share it with you. We will be the judges. I'll be the timer. And Sam, if you slouch, you owe me a wall sit.
Is the timer ready? Is the judges ready? All right, let's begin. Good evening. My Challenge 1 class and I are for the resolution. The status of the Challenge 1 class should be significantly changed. To start this debate round, we're going to define our terms.
Definition 1, Challenge 1 class. The group of excellent and amazing students you now see before you who breezed through a year of Challenge 1 while enduring Dr. Van. Definition 2, status. The relative social, professional, or other standing of something or someone. In other words, the grade level of this class right here.
In order to convince the judge that the change should be made, we, the affirmative team, present you the harms associated with not making the change. After we present these harms, we are confident that you will agree with us that a change should be made. That is, that the status of Challenge 1 class should not remain as it is. Harm 1, accomplishment. Accomplishment. The students may not feel accomplished if they do not advance to Challenge 2.
Harm 2, rift. Harm 2, rift. If the students do not move to Challenge 2 level, all of the classes behind them will not move either, causing a rift in the structure, and the Challenge 1 class next year would be too large. Can I ask the Challenge B class to raise their hands, please? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's too many. It's way too many students. That's not going to work. And harm 3 is missed opportunity. Harm 3, missed opportunity. If a repeat year happens, then students may miss out on Challenge 4, which is full of rich content to help us further glorify God, which would be a missed opportunity.
In summary, we give you accomplishment, rift, and missed opportunity. We hope you can agree with us that this Challenge 1 class, which has studied The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare at length, has read many, many novels in American literature, considered the relationship between husband and wife, Christ and church, has read and discussed the great primary source documents that shaped the forming of our country, debated, discussed, edited, wrote, laughed, encouraged, and pondered. This class clearly needs a change of status.
Here is our plan. The Challenge 1 class will now be considered the Challenge 2 class. Thank you. Thank you. The people providing the funds for our plan will be the parents of the students. The agency and enforcement will be the parents of the students, Dr. Van, and anyone else in leadership of Classical Conversations.
Our plan provides several advantages. Advantage 1, there will be lots of joy and happiness, happiness and joy, and even maybe some singing.
Advantage 2, the students will learn new and important information. The thing is, we don't know what the new information is yet because we haven't had Challenge 2 yet. Advantage 3, finances. Finances. It saves money. The parents would not have to pay for a repeat year, and we know how the old saying goes, finances speak louder than words, or something like that.
All right. Discipline is the cornerstone of freedom, which is the theme of Challenge 1. We've already clearly mastered discipline, so by changing status to Challenge 2, we will dwell into that theme. Freedom allows opportunity for noble choices. So our last advantage is noble choices. In conclusion, we have shown you tonight with mountains of evidence that the current Challenge 1 class, if left unchanged in its status, will cause significant harm to not only the entire class too, but to everyone. So to make everyone's life easier, please vote for our plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Challenge 2 class.
Well, I guess if they move up, then we get to move up. Challenge 3. I'm Sandy Smith. I'm the Challenge 2 director, soon to be Challenge 3 director. And these are my students, and they are just going to share some new things about Challenge 2. We're going to just talk about protocol a little bit. So,
we decided to go in alphabetical order. Since my name is Zachary Bogda, I thought I'd be going last. But we decided to go last names first. I'm talking about Lincoln-Douglas debate. For Lincoln-Douglas debate, it's very similar to team policy debate, except you're debating values rather than policies. And it's a little more opinionated, and it's one-on-one rather than teams. And now, Elise is going to talk.
Hi, my name is Elise DeYoung, and I'm going to share about the art grant project. This happens during first semester, and it is a project where you compete with your classmates to try to win the reward of an art grant that goes towards your imaginary project that you came up with during the semester. I enjoyed this project for 2 reasons. The first being that it gives you a lot of creative liberty to create whatever you want, because you can pick whatever topic you want, and secondly, because it was really fun to see what the rest of my classmates came up with their presentations.
Man, you really don't understand how many people are here until you stand up in front of them. Anyways, for those that don't know me, my name is Noah Krajewski, and I am the baby of our class. And I just have a little bit that I'd like to say for Challenge 1 that is going to be taking our spot. You seem so hopeful, and yet I feel like you don't understand what is to come. Anyways, I'd just like to say a short thing that I hope that you guys, I hope you'll enjoy writing, exposition. It's been one of my favorite topics throughout all of Challenge, especially Challenge 2. And remember those painstaking essays, the persuasive essays, the comparison essays, all that fantastic jazz that you stayed up countless hours to do, because I've been in that position, so I should know. But what you should know and be hopeful for is the compositions that will be due. Writing these compositions are, I think, one of the most fantastic things in all of Challenge 2. They are so much fun, so enjoyable to do, with the fact of being able to use your own imagination, insert your own thoughts and opinions, and not have to, follow the strict guidelines of the essays of Essay 1, Essay 2, Essay 3, all the way up to 9. You don't have to follow all that. Strip that away and focus on your imagination. It's been something that's comforted me over this past year. I've been able to use my own personal struggles and intertwine it with my own stories and make it something unique and fantastic. And I hope that you guys will enjoy that far greater than what you may think. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Anna Langley, and if you notice that I'm not dressed up, that's because I somehow didn't get that memo. Anyways, in Challenge 2, we also study great artists and composers of history, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt van Rijn, Debussy, and Tchaikovsky, the last of which being the composer who wrote Swan Lake and the Sugar Plum Fairy. My advice to the upcoming Challenge 2 class in this subject would be to listen to classical music that you are meant to memorize while making French toast. It works very well. No, but really, you should just incorporate into your day-to-day life so it will just kind of click and you'll remember it automatically. Thank you.
Didn't realize we were all memorizing, so I have notes. Sorry, I have to flip through. Is this slower? The thing I really enjoyed about this year was the fact that each one of us got our own turn to lead the rest of the class in discussion about one of the many different books we read throughout the year through the exposition and composition strand. After hearing about the fact that we were going to be reading The Hobbit this year, Mrs. Smith probably remember this, I immediately emailed Mrs. Smith asking her if I could lead the discussion on it. I must say, I felt kind of bad asking Mrs. Smith about something that had to do with school in the middle of the summer. Thankfully, this didn't alter her response. I was trying to think of some advice that I could give to the upcoming Challenge 2 students as I was writing this on the way over here. And I thought to myself, I don't want to say procrastination, that's kind of lame, but then I realized I'm writing this on the way over here, so don't procrastinate, everyone. Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to be talking about Socratic dialogue. So for Socratic dialogue, you're going to be getting a partner, an assigned partner, and for what you have to do for Socratic dialogue is you have to come up with a conversation that's 5 minutes long that goes back and forth with you and your partner. And while doing this, you're trying to pursue truth and find truth and reach conclusions through your discussion with your partner. And my advice for this would be to pick a topic that you and your partner both enjoy so that it's much funner and you kind of dig deeper and you have fun with it, which I did with my partner, Noah. It was really fun. Also, to add humor in it, because sometimes it can get really heavy and boring, and I know my class, they don't pay attention very well, and we all kind of got bored reading the Socratic dialogues. So add some humor in it, make it funny, which is what me and Noah did. Noah, well, he's a good writer, so he did really good on that. And so that's my advice. Thank you.
You have to come with me.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Corinne Smith.
I'm Lincoln Wood.
We are talking about protocol. So protocol is, it's a dance. We did cotillion last year, and I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing next year. I was really excited for it to start off. I like getting dressed up. He was not.
Best way to spend the Saturday night, dancing.
I like putting on a pretty dress and getting dressed up. So I was excited for it all along, but leading up to it, I was like, oh wait, I don't want to dance. But my advice to the upcoming Challenge B going into Challenge 1 class would be just, it's fun. You will have the most fun.
Yeah.
He even enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He even enjoyed it.
I didn't think it would be fun, but it was fun. It was a good way to interact with new people, and I'm new to this campus, so it was a good way to meet some new people from this campus that I never would have met otherwise.
Yeah, and being part of the campus for the last, I think, 3 years, even I met new people, and it was a lot of fun. And the last thing that I would have to say is, yeah, you're dancing with someone that you might not be 100% comfortable with, but it's only awkward if you make it awkward. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dana Lisiaga, and I have had the honor and pleasure to tutor this Challenge 3 class this year. I am going to give them most of the time here, but foundation students, I wanted to speak to you for a second. Guess what we got to study this year in Challenge 3? We got to study about Pearl Harbor and the tycoons, the same things that you sang about. We also got to study chemistry, and we had to use all of the elements on the periodic table, just like you studied this year. We had to translate Latin from Caesar and Cicero into English, just like you did with the verses in John this year. And we also built on your orchestra song. I think some of them were singing along with you, and studied music theory this year. So the things that you're studying, they also studied, which is pretty neat. So I'm going to let you talk about the individual strand students.
Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Moore. The theme for our Challenge 3 year is that all choices bring consequences. As we started and completed each subject this year, we saw the truth of this statement continuously. We even saw its validity in our own everyday lives. If we made the choice to procrastinate our history papers, then the consequence was having to stay up late on Sunday nights to finish it, getting little sleep, and therefore not getting to enjoy our day in class together. It is, however, important to remember that not all consequences are bad. They can be good too. For example, if we made the choice to put a lot of time and work into our music theory or Shakespeare presentations, it was often a much better day of class and even made us excited to give our presentations. So my encouragement for the upcoming Challenge 3 class is this: weigh your decisions very carefully. Whether it be schoolwork or really anything else you do, do your best to make good decisions and do everything as if doing it for the Lord.
Hello? Okay, this is hard. So right now I am not Lillian Koistra. I'm Micah Scroggins, and I'm reading. He was not able to attend tonight, and so imagine me as, you can see him up there. He's blonde. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Okay, so this is what he said. In Shakespeare this year, we learned about the different qualities that can be seen in different leaders. We compared the leadership styles of Macbeth, Henry V, and Julius Caesar. It was interesting to see how they all had strength and determination to achieve their goals, but their different goals shaped the different ways they led. The advice I would give is to set goals and work to achieve them in every area of your life. Be confident in what you know you're able to do. Trust the people around you to help you grow, and look for advice anywhere you can. Always look for new ways to learn.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and may the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars Day. I'm going to tell you a little about what we did this year in everyone's favorite subject, Latin. So we worked on translating the speeches of Marcus Tullius Cicero, a Roman senator. He wove rhetorical devices all throughout these speeches. Though we studied and identified countless of these devices, none of us could tell you how to pronounce them. Upcoming students and parents, do not dread this strand from the outset, please. Latin is a puzzle. It is the most satisfying feeling when you realize your individual translated words do make a sentence, and you can finally see the picture that the words paint. I'm also going to stand in for Myra Hunt tonight and tell you her advice about chemistry. This year, I learned that I prefer biology over chemistry. I also learned that math is super important for chemistry. My advice to the oncoming class is to always review the example problems because you will need to be solid in how to do the equations for all the modules. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Katie Roseboom, and this year in personally my favorite subject, and if you ask my classmates, my best subject, poetry, we learned about many different forms that had to do with rhythm, syllables, and rhyme. But we also learned that poetry can be used to express emotion and to tell a story. My advice to upcoming Challenge 3 students is to not get caught up in what your poem should be about. Write about the first thing you think of. Just have fun with it.
Hi, my name is Abriel Morsman, and I'm going to be talking about music theory. So in the first semester, we learned about music theory. We learned about things such as time signature, scale degrees, using Roman numerals instead of a letter, and so much more. It is very fun and useful to learn whether you're musically inclined or not. My advice for students coming into Challenge 3 is to enjoy music theory and have fun with it, because you'll definitely get a lot of use out of it.
Hello, my name is Esteban Gray, and our awesome tutor, Mrs. Lisiaga, stole my subject, history. So I'm going to tell you guys what she didn't say. 3 or 4 years ago, my oldest sister started Challenge 3, and she got the history book in the mail, and it was like this thick, and I was freaking out. Huge book. But I learned throughout the year that it's not that bad if you go week by week. If you try to read it all at once, it's a lot of information. It was very helpful to read this book, Patriots' History of the United States, from a worldview that I share. Because a lot of the history that I hear just around is leaning politically left, and it's hard to connect with the history when it's from that other worldview. So it's very helpful to have that. I encourage the class next year to just read, pace yourself, because it's a lot to take in. Just read through it and study the history and write the papers.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Sam Schaefer, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about our class devotion that we studied this year, which was a study on the book of Ecclesiastes. So when we started this study of Ecclesiastes, I at least personally was confused, and I think the rest of my class was, when we started a book of the Bible that was saying statements such as everything is vanity, and talking in a manner so much that it seemed the author was depressed even, talking about how nothing under the sun matters and it's all just vanity. But as we read through this book of the Bible, God revealed to us through it that the only reason that things might seem like they are such vanity or everything is pointless is because when compared to God and all of his wisdom and knowledge and love, everything else does seem like it is vanity and nothing else matters because of all his goodness. The encouragement that I would give to the upcoming class and all of you as well is that even in their situations, and I think this is something that we can all relate to and experience, is when there's times when it does feel like everything is vanity and nothing matters in life, God has not abandoned us, and that he's still showing us his glory, giving us his love and his wisdom, and that he is not going to leave us forsaken in our situations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian Koistra, and right now I'm representing myself. So my subject that I struggled the most with this year was math. Personally, I can tell you that I don't really like it, and I don't really want to do it at all. And so there were several weeks that I didn't do it. And my advice, I'm just going to come right out and say, is just do your math. Just do it. Because I'm heading into my senior year, and I don't understand what my other classmates are talking about. And so my helpful tips are do your math, do it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, I learned more from my classmates in the half an hour to an hour discussion in math than I learned from my math books, probably because I didn't do my math, but just do your math.
All right, and Mia Lisiaga was also not able to make it tonight, and so here's what she had to say on the strand of philosophy. This year in philosophy, I learned I learned about how the different propositions of famous philosophers impacted different societal eras. My favorite philosophies to learn about were those pertaining to the evolution of justice in society and whether abiding by just morals detracts from individual success or if it is actually the path to it. It forced me to think beyond my own constructed thought system and caused me to reevaluate my thinking in many areas of my life. The piece of advice I'd like to give the classes coming up is to not wish for it all to end so quickly, because before you know it, you'll wonder where the time went and miss it more than you can imagine. Work hard at your projects and be invested in your learning, but enjoy every second, the struggles and the successes.
That's all of us, but I did forget one thing in the beginning. One piece, I've been with this class since challenged, just last year and this year. But this year, there seemed to be a real turn toward joy in their education. Yes, it's hard. Yes, there are a lot of assignments, but the joy, the connections, seeing the strands connect to the Lord, the discussions, the rabbit trails, they left these students filled with a joy for learning that seems to be exponentially greater than it has been even in their past years. So.
Well, I am clearly not Mrs. Marcia Visser, although Marcia and her class hopefully will, there they are, come up. I hope that many of you were able to, if not attend in person, our graduation ceremony last night, but watch it online live stream. Our Challenge 4 class graduated last evening, and it was a beautiful, wonderful event. They are headed off to their class trip, and I believe, hi Mrs. Visser, she's home. She told me she'd be watching us live stream, but she's probably in her sweats and enjoying a job well done, 6 years well done for her. So this is our Challenge 4 class, and so you can see who they are, and we'll look forward to seeing our Challenge 3ers step in those shoes next year. I would like to do a few special recognitions before we close for the evening. First of all, I am guessing probably Miss Bonnie is not here, Jen, this evening, and that's completely fine, but I wanted to make a special thank you to our afternoon child care person, Miss Bonnie Carpenter, and to Jen. Jen, will you just come up here? I have some flowers for you. Jen organized our afternoon child care for all the little siblings of the kiddos who were learning on campus in the afternoon. So thank you to Jen. And then, of course, I must say a thank you to Lighthouse Church for their ongoing annual generosity and kindness and welcome to our campus. Every Monday, we have more than 100 students, plus tutors, directors, and their parents in this building. And as you can imagine, as careful and as respectful we are of the building, there's a lot of wear and tear and use. And we're very grateful to Lighthouse for having us back year after year, and for not only having us back as renters, but investing in relationship with us. So we're thankful to Lighthouse Church. I want to thank our setup and cleanup helpers every Monday who come in and do all of the tables and chairs on the Challenge Wing and in the Foundations Wing, especially for me this year. Challenge 1 class, will you guys just stand up real quick? They're back there. You saw them do their debate. But Dr. Van had those kids down here fast hauling tables and chairs to all of the Foundations and Essentials classrooms every Monday morning, and I'm thankful to them, as well as the tutor kids and director kids who race around and help with all of that. Parents, you also have been tremendous this year, helping with cleanup, especially with all of the very thorough cleaning procedures and new procedures we had in place in order to keep the facility the cleanest we could. So I'm thankful to all of you for making my job much easier through all of that. And I have one more acknowledgement, and that is to my friend and co-worker, Mrs. Laura Koistra. Laura, will you come up? Yay! Mrs. Koistra has served our campus and our area as our support representative, She has served joyfully. She has worked hard. Her job is very much largely behind the scenes, but her diligence and care of our area communities have allowed our campus and the others to run robustly and healthfully. Laura has taken a new job with Classical Conversations in their communications department, and due to the full-time nature of her new job, which, by the way, she is so well suited for, she will not be continuing her SR or support representative work, which is the very big set of shoes that I will be filling. Yeah, well, I think we were the same size, actually, so it's fine. But I'd like to acknowledge Laura for her service and for her willing hands in the shaping of this campus and the others in our area. Love you. Love you too. All right, everyone. Well, now the moment all of us have been waiting for, the photo slideshow. Before we begin, though, I want to give you a few directions, because when the photo slideshow is over, you will be dismissed for the evening. And a couple of notes. After the slideshow is finished, I'd like to invite you all to stay for a popsicle reception. We're going classy this evening. And the popsicles will be set up over here. Students, grab one, okay? Little learners, one popsicle. Enjoy, please, the foundation student artwork displayed on this side of the room, and then there are some challenge level displays on the tables in the back. Please feel free to stay and fellowship with one another. And as you see that we are winding down for the evening, we could use some strong arms and help in putting all the chairs away tonight. So students, especially young men, if you would be willing to help with that toward the end of our fellowship time, that would be much appreciated. And with that, I would like to cue the beginning of our closing slideshow, and thank you all for attending and supporting our campus this evening for our closing program.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the I run thankful to your throne of mercy, and you run to me with arms wide open, and I sing, whom have I in heaven but you? Nothing on earth can outshine you. Bones may break and spirits crumble, but God remains my strength. Whom have I in heaven but you? Nothing on earth can outshine you. Bones may break and spirits crumble, but God remains my strength. And I am His forever. Treasure, never alone. I'm made righteous.